what we do here. Then we go to communications. We need to understand how communications will be done. So we plan communications management. That's the first thing we do, to have a methodology and an approach to guide us. Once this is done, we know how to manage our communications. Now we perform. We say we have to have meetings. So we have our meetings. We say we have to send reports to customers every month. We send those reports. That's managing communicate, doing what is stated in the communications management plan. Then we will monitor our communications. We said reports should be sent every month. Do we send reports every month? People do what is inspected, not what is expected of them. So yes, people know they have to send reports every month. People know they have to come for meetings end of every week. But if somebody is not checking who reported, who did not report, who sent the report, who didn't send the report. And again, reports could be sent, but what is efficiency of those reports? Are the customers satisfied with the report? Does it have the hold? Does it hold the right information? We check all these ones, monitoring your communication, effectiveness and efficiency of your communication. That will be done here. Now we go to risk. What could go wrong? What could be the opportunity? We first will build a plan. So we have a plan to basically direct us. Now, what could be the input to guide us when we're identifying the risk? I want to see if somebody could remember. We want to identify. So once we have the plan shows how all of these ones will be done, identifying and doing all that. So it gives us the direction. But when we are identifying the risk, what could be some of the input? One key input. There was a document I talked about when we were thinking about getting the bus. The risk was identified high level and was put in some document. What is the name of that document? So if you go into that document, we'll have an idea of some of the high level risks, and that could help us identify some of the risk. We want to buy a bus. We saw the risk, accident. It went into a document at the initiation stage. What is the name of that document?
Project charter.
Super. You guys are following. So one key input to be the PC, the project charter here. It will help us know some of the risks. Then we will look through other documents. We will talk to other people, other stakeholders to help us identify the risk. What do you think will be the output when the risk is identified? What artifact do you create to capture all the risk? It will be called what? The risk
management.
No, the risk management plan is
Risk
showing
register.
you how. Yes,
Register.
so the risk register will hold all the risk identified. Okay, so all the risks identified will go into the risk register. Okay, and it won't just hold the risk, it will also give more information about it. As we perform the other processes, we'll be adding more information about it. So it will start as list of the activities. Then we go to this one. We have identified the risk, one of them being rain, A. Now we need to understand the risk. Okay, so in my book, I talk about identify, understand. Whatever you identify, you need to understand. I think you need to also, I don't know how many of you have checked out my profile, my channel on YouTube. Go that for. I talked about this. I did a master class with Joy FM, and we're talking about project management principles. I use my principles. I've got 5 major principles. I use them to explain this, make life easy. And there was a quote. I said, whatever you identify, understand. So once something is identified, you need to understand it. So you identify the risk. Light out for the project. For the party, one risk is light out. There could be light out, even though you don't have light out in the UK, in the US, but Ghana, light out. It's a major result be identified. So we identify light out. We need to understand it. When can this one come? Maybe there's been an announcement. If not, what is the trend? Usually during the day, they are not likely to turn off the light. Could happen during the evening. So we look at the chances. So we need to understand it. So we perform qualitative risk analysis to help us understand it. So we analyze the risk, basically. So light out, we analyze it. When can it come in? what when it happens, when there's light out, what could be the impact on the party? The guy knows when there's no light, the fund will be taken away. So impact will be very huge. So what do? You need to respond. Okay. So you understand it through qualitative risk analysis and quantitative risk analysis. The question is, what is the difference? Qualitative is understanding it qualitatively. It means, yeah, there could be light out. Yes, when it happens, impact will be high. Chances, it's highly likely it will happen. That's qualitative. But quantitative, hard figures. What could be the impact? Hey, when it happens, we could lose. I know some people will come to the party and give gifts. When there's light out, people could leave. So, gift, we might not have, we may lose about $2,000 or pounds. So, quantitatively, what's the percentage? 90% chance. What's the chance, the probability? 90% chance of happening. That's quantitative. When you do this, we can calculate it and know the expected monetary value. We'll look at that one later to basically understand the risk. But some project you may not need to go ahead and do the quantitative risk analysis. Once you do qualitative, you might be good. All right. Once we understand the risk, what do? We can respond to it. If you don't understand, you can't respond. So once there's understanding, we can respond to the risk. You understand the light out risk, the blackout risk. Once you understand it, you respond to that, whether you accept it or you mitigate it. So what would you do? Maybe get a generator, or we accept the risk. Chances are low. Normally what you do is when the chances are low, chance of happening, probably impact is low, you could accept it. Chance of light out in the UK are very low, so no need for the generator. Impact very low because maybe you have solar to in place, so when it even goes out, there's no problem. So accept it. But if it's highly likely, you need to have a maximum response. So you do something about it. So you do maximum, you do minimum, you do nothing. If it's high, you do maximum. You do something. You need to do something. So once there's a plan, response plan in place, we implement the risk responses when they happen. So when there's lights out, we implement the risk responses. Then we monitor the risk. We monitor. Some of them were stated. Did they happen? Some of them happened. What happened? Were they effective? Were they able to cushion the risk? We monitor. If not, we learn our lessons and we improve and we keep going. Now we go to procurement, quite straightforward. We have a plan, then we'll conduct the procurement. So once we have a plan to direct what we have to purchase, we need to know how to go about it. We use conduct procurement. Conduct procurement, what do? You need to take quotations from various suppliers. Caterers, you have three of them. So you need to take quotation. This guy says, I'll charge £5,000. This guy says £2,000, 7,000. So we need to check £2,000. Do you think they can do the job? We check their reviews on Instagram, whatever, their social media handles, or talk to other people, go to their website, check their level of experience. So we need to understand these ones and manage and conduct a procurement. So what you do here more is about the bid evaluation. Okay, you do your bid evaluation and we'll unpack that as we go. We evaluate their quotations in order to select the responsible vendor to do the work for us. So we have different vendors. We go through the conduct procurement to select vendors for the party. Now we control the procurement. So they are done with the job, we need to pay them. Some of them are doing the job, we need to follow up. So we follow up, we call them, we want to make sure the cake, the decorations, they happen on time. So we do follow-ups. That's control procurement. So we follow up when they are done, we also pay them. When there are issues, we talk about it. Claims administration, we do all that here. Control procurement. Then the last one is the stakeholder. Your stakeholders. Stakeholders, think about them at the early part of the project. I hope you jotted that one down. Stakeholders, you think about them at the early part of the project. And my book, I also want to add this risk, you think about it at the early part of the project. So in my book, I'll push risk at the at the initiation stage as well, because it's very, very important. So at the early part, I want to basically think about risk more, not just in the project charter. I want to look at risk more right from the beginning. So identify your stakeholders. You look at it at the early part of the project phase or the project life cycle. You want to know who could play a part in there. So you have your stakeholders, who could be affected, who could affect the project. You need to know them at the early part. Once you know them, you plan your engagement. How do you engage them? So you create a plan to show how these ones will be done. You have various stakeholders, the caterers, the canopy sellers or vendors. You have all these ones. So how do you engage them? So you roll out a plan. But we'll talk more about this. And we need to understand them. Remember, I said whatever you identify, you need to understand. So once you identify your stakeholders, you need to also understand them. Who has got high interest, high power, who is interested more in your project, who has got more power, who can influence what, who can help you in this area. So you need to understand all these ones. And that is a major area. If you want your project to become a success, one of the things you look at more is your stakeholders. You take care of them, you take care of the project. If you don't take care of them, you have issues. So you need to know them early, you need to understand them quick, and you need to create a solid response or solid engagement plan for them. Then you manage them and you monitor to check whether they are being satisfied. This is what you do in project. Is walking us through project from start to finish. You see the party that you need to have for your father. All these ones are coming into play, but we never thought a party could have all these details. But this is what you do on a daily basis. Look at the report that was given to you by your manager. Many of them will come in there, but we never thought preparing this small report could be a major project. Is what you do. Let me say this again. If you can't see project management in what you are doing, then you haven't understood it well enough. Ladies and gentlemen, project management is what you do every blessed day. So all the things that we'll be talking about will revolve around what I talked about. All I need to do is to bring you add some more flesh to what I've already spoken, and maybe look at other dimensions, and you'll be good. So if you capture the idea clearly, the rest will be easy for you. Any questions?